Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is my pleasure to have you all watch the second day of the Alienware Awesome Cup Season 2 Finals today. We're going to be covering some amazing matches. My name is Slow Wolf. I'm going to be your host. Joining me as our casters for all the matches today, we have Oz and Nada, of whom everybody should be extremely familiar with. Oz, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Slow Wolf. It's great to have you back for day 2. I can't wait to see what we have in store for the grand finals today. I know we have some great matches, awesome gameplay, and I'm really excited to get started.
Me too. And Nada, how are you today? Are you ready? Is that hype button?
The hype button, it's stuck. We can't. The brakes are broken. The train is going. We are ready. I am hyped. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. 3 months. We're here. It's happening.
Yeah, it's been a long road, guys, and this is the last day of Season 2. What happens here is somebody comes out on top. Somebody ends up with the prize pool, with all the marbles. And that's the culmination of 3 months worth of work. Oz, how do you think the players are feeling right now? Do you think they're all fairly calm and everything, or do you think that this is probably the biggest games of their lives that are approaching as far as Awesome Nuts is concerned?
Well, as far as Awesome Knots is concerned, this is probably the biggest games of their lives. They really need to do well here to bring home that prize pool. I spoke with a few of the players last night when we concluded, and they were saying that they were researching and doing their homework. So I know a lot of these teams have been rewatching a few matches from the other teams and trying to learn what they're going to play and their attitudes going into the grand finals today.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Now, Nada, you've noticed all the different playstyles that we've had here and all the different teams that we've had here. And at the end of yesterday, only a couple of teams made it. Why don't we go over the brackets after what happened after the carnage yesterday. In the upper bracket, we had 16 teams to start off with. But by the end of it, we've got 2. We've got Boom and Spade. Could you give me your, could you go over what exactly happened with all these different teams here? Especially the last couple of matches between Boom Ion and Spade Accio. Do you think that these teams, Spade and Boom, really earned their spots here, or who else did you expect to see at the front end here?
I think this is what I was looking for. Boom, obviously, having proved their worth in the qualifiers, were destined to go far. And I mean, after a tough fight with Ion, they managed to get through. Spade and this incredible team has been just tearing through with their high damage, high reaction, short reaction times. Just go in, get those kills. They're high-powered teams, both of them, and I'm absolutely certain that this is how I could imagine. I could be happy with this. I couldn't be more happy with this. This is a good way of things have turned out, and exactly what I hoped for.
So, Oz, do you feel similarly about the 2 finalists here in the upper bracket?
Well, we've seen these teams compete before. It's very high-octane gameplay. Both of these teams play very aggressively, and we've seen them come out on top. And they've bested most of their opponents up until this match that we're going to see shortly. So I would have to be inclined to agree with Nada. These 2 teams absolutely deserve to be here with the way they've played over the last 3 months.
Now, these aren't the only teams that we've been looking at, and I agree from what I've seen as well. But these aren't the only teams that we're looking at today. We have a top 4 that's managed to consist of, surprisingly, a very similar top 4 to the last Alienware Awesome Cup, with one notable exception, actually. The top 4 teams for today's matches, of which I think we're only going to be seeing 3 of these teams by the time everything is all said and done. We have Boom, we have Ion, we've got Boss, and we have Spade and his incredible team. So like I mentioned, 3 out of 4, you got Boom, Ion, and Boss. But Spade and incredible team is a new addition to the top 4, and 99 cents is notably missing. Nada, is this what happens when you lose one of your star players on your team, or what happened with 99 cents?
That is generally what happens when you lose a player on your team. If you don't have a 4-player team with regular substitutions and switch and so on, you're going to have you're going to take a heart punch when you don't have your top player or even your player, because all your synergy and all the communication, when a team gets good enough, the communication becomes less verbal and more of, we are all in the position we need to be, we all know we go.
Yeah.
That is the sort of communication that you reach. That is a high level of just knowing each other, and that all disappears because the third link in the chain just suddenly is away, and it's replaced with a new player, new play style, new everything. And that means they have to go all the way through that training and get back into where they were. So I'd say that basically that would be a huge hit.
So we're thinking here that it's maybe just a growing pains thing as a team. They need to be able to overcome this and eventually get back to where they were before. But 99 cents, unable to defend their championship. So Oz, let's talk about Spade and his incredible team for a moment. Seeing as they're now new to the top 4 as far as the Alienware Awesome Cup is concerned, what do you think their chances are coming into this? Seeing as they're actually facing Boss in the upper bracket finals, that's obviously a really good step forward, but what do you think their chances are?
Well, 3 months in the making, these teams have been competing for, and Spade and his incredible team, we've seen them many a time, and they've just proven time and time again that they know their stuff. A lot of these players we've seen before. I've played against them personally. Nat has played against them, and we've both seen them play. They're a very, very aggressive team. They know the mechanics of the game, and they know how to use that to their advantage. And as Nat has said, you know, a lot of these teams have a level of communication where it's a less verbal level and more of they know what's going on, where they need to be in relation to their team. And this is exactly what Spade and his incredible team have done this entire tournament. They have great map positioning, they have great awareness, and they just know when to dive in, they know when to pick up a kill, they know when to retreat, and I think their huge strong suit is knowing a lot about the game and knowing how to play their characters extremely well.
That's very, very good. Okay. That's awesome to hear that. I'm really excited to see what they're able to put out. But we also have another 2 teams that are in the lower bracket that are fighting for their tournament lives today. And we don't necessarily get to see their match. But we have Ion, who was knocked down to the lower bracket by Boom yesterday. And we've got Boss, the last Canadian team to make it up to here, which I'm only mentioning because of Canadian pride. But Boss is a well-known name in the area, and they've got Ion versus Boss. Now, this is an older matchup. This has happened a couple of times, with Ion being favored to win it, just overall because of their playstyle being methodical, and Boss willing to take more risks that Ion can penalize. Nada, seeing as you're a member of Team Ion and everything, what do you think your team's chances of coming out on top of Boss are? Do you think that their favored status is well earned, or do you think that it is going to be a relatively even matchup between Ion and Boss today?
Well, Ion and Boss has this history. This is a complete reset of what it was like in the first tournament, where Ion and Boss are fighting for the 3rd place, or potentially the finals here. Who gets to be in the top 3 and who doesn't. This is the exact same situation they're in, and Ion already beat Boss in the round 2 of the upper brackets. So this is once again a Boss Ion match. This is like they keep coming together, and I think Ion could do it. The last time Boss took it, so I almost feel like it's our turn now.
And Oz, what do you think about the matchup?
Well, as Nada said, we've seen this matchup quite a few times, and this is the rematch for placement at this point. And it's a win-or-lose situation for both of these teams. One's going to get knocked out, one's going to move on and win potentially more prize money. So both of these teams are amazing teams, and I personally think that Boss is going to put up a very good fight and potentially take it from Ion.
Well, we'll only have to wait and see. We aren't going to be able to see those matches in particular, but we are going to see who's going to come out on top. The matchup that we do have coming up, though, are the upper bracket finals between Boom and between Spade and his incredible team. So we're going to have to see who comes out on top of that and who's going to have to go down to the loser's side to face off against the winner of Boss versus Ion. Before all that happens, though, we do have something, because we know that you in the audience not only love to watch Awesome Nuts, but you also love these streams because we like to give away skins, because Ronimo is a kind and benevolent skin giver. We'd like to go ahead and talk about a Twitter giveaway. We've got RoboScoops. RoboScoops everywhere. I mean, we're not going to go ahead and Oprah them and give them out to everybody. Here's a RoboScoop, you get a RoboScoop, you get a RoboScoop. But we are going to be giving away RoboScoops today. To do this, just go on to Twitter and retweet Ronimo's tweet about the skin giveaway for a chance to win a RoboScoop, which normally you can't get unless if you go to a Ronimo event live or in person, or meet them. If you ever meet them, if you decide to ever go to Amsterdam, call them up, send them an email. They'll actually probably give you a skin there too, but that's a pretty expensive skin at that point, costing at least a couple of grand from where I'm sitting. Regardless, this is one of your chances to be able to win one right from where you're sitting. So go to Twitter, retweet that tweet, get a chance to win a RoboScoop. Past that, boys, when you're in capable hands, let's go on to the first match.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Nada. I am so pumped. I am so ready. I want you to take us through the draft session for this picks and bans, both of these teams, and let's get straight into it.
All right, you know what? This is it, the first game, Boom versus Spade in the winners finals. Get hype. Alright, so Boom resides with the first pick and therefore the first ban, which is going to be Nibs. No Nibs for Spade, which is quite, I think it's going to hit their comp quite hard. Respawn's ban will be Scoop, so no Paulo Scoop. We've seen that in the earlier qualifiers. You know, both, obviously these are team-based picks. This is not just, oh, we don't want to fight a Nibs, or oh, we don't want to fight a Scoop. This is team-based. They know their opponents here. As you said, they've been doing their homework. First pick for Boom will be Swiggins, so also denying Spade the Swiggins here. That being Spade the player, not Spade and his incredible team. That is actually a player pick, once again. Response will be Vinny and Spike as well as Froggy G, so picking up 2 heavy burst characters, lots of mobility, and denying Blah, that frog. Response to that will be Coco and Penny Fox, so to recap, that will be a Swiggins Coco Penny comp on side of Boom, and for Spade they are going to opt for an Ayla pick at last, so an Ayla, Froggy G, and Vinny and Spike comp for Spade. Are you hyped? We are on Serona, and I am ready to go when you are.
Let's do it. Give us a countdown, Nada.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So, Nada, my question to you is, we're seeing this Coco Penny that we talk about a lot, throwing a Swiggins into the mix. How deadly is that comp?
Well, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd say 12.
So very deadly. As compared to the Vinny and the Frog, we toss an Ayla into Spade and his incredible team. How do you think that's going to play into effect?
Well, imagine you get stunned, you get bursted, and then you're trapped in the silence cloud with a raging Ayla going on, and you can't do anything. This is such heavy burst and post burst. There is everything you need to kill anyone. This is the starter pack for killing people.
The starter pack for killing people. As compared to Boom, what kind of pack do they have?
They have the package that, you know, you get it and you seal the deal. Swiggins hooks in, and you know the Coco Penny takes care of the rest.
Now we see a lot of engagers on Boom's team, and as you said, the post burst coming out for Spade and his incredible team. I think that a lot of these teams are going to get into it, but before we start with that conversation, Ubi's going to take a lot of damage from Paolo. Paolo's going to deal a decent amount of ball damage to Ubi, so both of them will be forced to retreat back, grab some help, and try and get back into the fray as Spade and Dave W continue to clear as Boom is taking control of mid. Dave W up top, going to grab some of that health, and he will proceed once more to get... yeah, he's building his solar cloud very quickly.
Oh yes, well, now he will be ready to already counter out that Blaze, well, not quite yet, but he will definitely be able to counter out that Blaze DOT, which is something that will tear you apart as a Vinny.
And the ball coming out, and a nice kill by Spade. He's going to dash through the bouncer and pick up a kill on Blah, as Blah will be the first kill around 2 minutes in. Ball hitting Spade into that midsection. Now, many of you may notice that Hui is actually not playing for Team Boom. They have brought in Kaio as a pinch hitter today, so Kaio will be performing in the Elliott Awesome Cup in attempt to bring Boom their victory.
Yep. And we are seeing the Penny once again rolling with that retain charge, so the pounce build rather than the pulse build, which is what we usually see in the tournament.
And Spade is taking a lot of damage, as we see he's trying to escape the worm, and he is going to grab the solar and dash away, but he will get picked up by Paolo and Blah, hunting him down, and it seems that Ubi is going to be enraged, but he is going to have to escape the wrath of Blah and Kaio as they chase him up top. Oh. Dave W getting pounced right off the bouncer, and Blah trying to chase Dave W. Paolo in the air. This aerial battle is continuing. Oh. Dave W is barely going to escape with his life from all 3 members of Team Boom collapsing on him mid-air.
You use the word nimble a lot, and that is a perfect way, that is like summing up what you mean. He was just flying around, he knew things were happening, he just staying calm throughout the entire situation. That's a lot, you know, staying calm with the entirety of Boom, like, right behind you.
And as we see the pulse landing on Dave W and Ubi, Dave W gaining his health right back from his regen cloud, which is going to be very powerful in the long run. He's building for that late game. He's going to try and accumulate solar very quickly, get his dash up, and it seems that Boom has a lot of counters to Spade and his incredible team at this point.
Well, you know, Alos Wiggins is never a fun matchup. You are kind of what was that? You are not very safe with the Wiggins around, and you're very exposed. Especially,
and you're very exposed, but as they start the engagement, a lot of damage being dealt across the board, and Blah is going to be forced to go back. Dave W dealing a lot of damage across Kaio and Paolo. Nothing to be made of it, though.
I'm afraid we may see this a bit more because the builds are all slowly taking place. There's no particular dominance in either side of the match right now, even though we're 5 minutes in almost. So these close engagements, I feel that that's where we're heading, because both teams obviously want to win, and they want to make sure they don't go all the way in, all in the beginning.
And they seem to be going all the way in, as Spade and Ubi are going to be stuck with all three members of Boom next to them. But the Dave coming in from Dave W is going to secure a kill on Kaio. Paolo picking up a ball kill, taking out Ubi in the process. So a 1-for-1. And that's the way you got to play. You see that your teammates are in trouble. Try and make the best out of a bad situation. And that's exactly what Spade and his team did.
I mean, they were actually aiming to get Ubi out. That's the thing. You can always get your teammates out if you just go there. If your teammates can't flee towards you, you flee towards them. But that's the thing. If you stay as a team together, then you will reduce, you know, we're talking about zones yesterday, and where a Knot has a zone, you will reduce the enemy's zone of affection, you know, just when they will be effective and when they can do things for you. Or to you, I'd probably say.
And a ball hitting Spade into that top lane. Paolo, Kaio, and Blah have taken control of mid, and they have held it for a good 4 minutes now. Spade looks like he's going to be able to get away by dashing through, but he's taking a lot of damage in the process. Blah looking to pick up a kill. Dave W going to heal up, take both of the droids, and Paolo may be in a bad situation as Ubi's trying to come up and help out Dave W and picking up that kill. Ubi decides to look for the chase, but remembers that his team is not in a position to help him if he gets stuck up there, and retreats back to Dave W's side.
It's actually important for when you do team fights is make sure your droids are ready.
And you're going to make sure that your team is also in a great position to help you out. Kaio is going to be on the run as he escapes with 1 HP. Paolo and Blah in a 2v3 situation. Dave W looking to pick up a kill. Paolo getting out with 1 HP as well. And Kraken statue being bought on Sweetens. Tell us a little bit about that.
Early stun, or at least stun for the upgrade, and early being the time, that extra, that's 0.5, half a second, am I correct? Yes, half a second extra stun on that hook, which will allow you to lock down people when you go in. That is very effective versus, for instance, an Ayla where you don't want to get face evil-eyed when you hook in.
And Spade looks like he's going to be in some deep trouble as he's going to get picked up in the bottom lane. Dave W and Ubi have to escape the clutches of Kaio, but Kaio, that Kraken statue doing wonders, will secure a kill right in front of the turret of Spade and his incredible team, as Boom has picked up another 2 kills, making a 2-for-none situation and a push for the bottom and top lane.
And you can see here they're splitting it up very, they're being clever about this, leaving Swiggins up top to defend versus the Vinny, and making sure that he doesn't get down to Penny and Coco. Sort of being the watch guard, the guard hound, whatever you want to call it. He's up there making sure the push can go on, even though he could have been down there pushing, but that would have put his team in a very bad situation.
And I do want to discuss that when your team has a push, 2 members of your team are taking down a turret, you always want to be in a cutoff situation. If you're not doing damage to that turret, you want to be in a cutoff so that you can prevent any forward movement. But Kaio's taking a lot of damage from the sneaky duck strats of Ubi and Spade, as they're going to be able to pick up Kaio in the process, but Paolo, making the best out of a bad situation, will pick up Spade in return, making a 1-for-1.
Yeah, it's dangerous. You have to make sure that when you're hiding, you don't try to ambush an entire team, because even though that was just the Swiggins coming down there, and the team was ready to go in a minute, like that, in a second actually. We're looking just no time at all. And that's where you want to make sure when you're doing the sneaky dark strats, as we have now dubbed them, you are often out of position in order to catch the enemy where they don't expect you to be. And you know that is dangerous because that leaves you very exposed if things don't go as you plan them to.
And being very exposed to knots is not a good thing, especially when the entirety of the enemy team has very quick, bursty characters like Spade and his incredible team, along with Boom. This is the meta. These are very squishy, very fast, very bursty characters.
I'd actually say that Boom is looking at medium HP, and the entirety of Spade is squishy. Swiggins being on the edge of tanky. You can build a tanky Swiggins, and I don't know if he's going to, but you can. It is absolutely possible.
And as we see the pounce up top, the engagement start, Dave W going to hook onto someone eventually, or excuse me, will dash into Kaio, who tries to hook onto somebody, unfortunately does not, and Spade and his team will go back to clearing, as well as health picked up from Blah. Now, the one thing that I wanted to talk about was Heavenly Fire, especially against this type of build, Nada. How does that play into effect?
Well, Heavenly Fire,
well, actually, Ubi is probably going to get taken down. If he can avoid the clutches of Paolo and Kaio, he is going to be on the run, trying to teleport out. He's going to use the rage to get up top, steal the health, but he will be taken down by all three. Boom. But Heavenly Fire, let's get back to that.
Oh, wow. Heavenly Fire, great versus squishy characters, great versus Frog, because you can get that DOT in, and we all know that the invincibility of Frog's dash only lasts for one tick, meaning that you will not be able to negate the entirety of DOT, only one tick of it. So even though he may be able to just cancel out one tick, you still have the rest to just do all that damage that, you know, that would have been negated if it had been burst. So fighting Frogs, it's usually good to have some DOT going.
And as we see the rage started again by Ubi, Paolo is going to be forced to retreat. Blah taking a lot of damage in the process. He will escape with about 3 bars of HP, and we will go back. And it seems that Spade and his team have taken control of mid, as all 3 members of Team Boom have allowed them residency.
Boom now just actually went back to spend with the exception being Kaio still on map here, but I mean, the damage is ticking up for Boom, and I think Spade and his incredible team has to be careful, because even though they have damage, they have nowhere as much damage as Boom.
And we see Kaio going in and diving into the turret, picking up Spade, and Ubi will hunt down Kaio in the process. Paolo is now going to be in a 2v1, as Ubi is going to get pounced away, and a huge Evil Eye being hit. Dave W is going to look for the kill, but Paolo is there for the safety and security, allowing Blah to escape up top and pick up some creep health, and Pool Boy. Ooh. Arguably one of the most powerful upgrades in the game.
Not only does it stack up nicely with your anchor and you drop the whole playstyle of Swiggins, you hook in, you swing, you hook him up, you shoot, but it just does so much. You get so much burst, and even though it's single target burst, it doesn't really improve your overall push that much, but that single target burst is exactly what they want with those squishy characters. I mean, you can take out a Frog in an instant with both the stun and, you know, the Pool Boy. Because you have stun on both Swiggins and Penny. So if you stun lock Frog, he's dead within a second.
And that's the way to kill a Frog. You get that CC going, make sure he's unable to get out, engage, or survive, and you take him out very quickly. You can see that one anchor from Swiggins taking a huge chunk off of Spade already. Paolo's going to take a dive from Dave W. Blah landing a pounce on Spade, but Spade's going to dash through it, dealing some damage to Blah in the process. Spade taking a ball to the face. Dave W getting pounced in mid-air, and Ubi is going to be on the hunt as we see him trying to hunt down Kaio in the bottom lane, and he will get picked up in the process, getting a little bit too out of position, but Ubi will pick up Blah, but Kaio will pick up Ubi, and a 2-for-1 in favor of Team Boom. Team Boom has once again secured themselves at mid-control and have cleaned the board. Dave W is going to be the only member of Spade in his team to be up at this time, defending against a 2v1, that being a Swiggins and a Coco.
No, Vinny is not well set here, and he does not have that Silence Cloud just yet. It is next on his wish list, I am sure, but does not have it quite yet. He is close, though. You see his money, his current solar right now is at about 300. He needs to get a little more. And there we go. The kill secured that solar.
And Spade will pick up Paolo in the process. And I think the Frog needs to pick up Shield at some point on NATO.
He needs to get some sort of security, yes. And I think the most important upgrade right now is Silent Cloud. So I think Vinny should be going back. He definitely has enough money for it, and money enough to keep up his Goldfish tax in just a second, because Silence Cloud is a rather expensive upgrade, but he should have enough by now.
He does have 420 solar and he will pick up that Silence Cloud, reducing his solar to about 200, and he will be back on lane. He also has his 500 dash as well as Chrome File, so he's going to be dealing with 700 dash. That's going to be a lot of damage, and as we see, it took a half a bar off of Coco. Ubi's going to be taking a lot of damage, the pulse being dealt as well, but Kaio is now in a very bad position. He's going to have to escape. Blah realizes that, and they counter-initiate, picking up Spade in the process. Kaio, with less than a bar of HP, will escape. Ubi is going to have to try and pick something up as Blah is running away. Dave W will pick up Paolo in the process, but Dave W, a penny versus a Vinny, is not a good situation. But Ubi is there for the rescue, and Ubi is going to get counter-initiated on and forced to go back. Dave W is still amped, so he will have to be avoiding Blah for a few seconds. Will go to pick up the health, and Kaio looking to drop down on Dave W. Nothing will happen.
I like to see that was actually a split of abilities, knowing that he may go down, he might as well split out the damage because he knew he couldn't quite hit Ayla with that pulse, so he focused that on Dave W instead.
And we see Kaio and Blah clearing the top lane as Spade, Dave W, and Ubi are waiting to pounce. This is the time that they need to pounce. Kaio was the only person in the midsection. They could have easily went in there, but that just goes to show that by fiending the opposition into thinking that there are more people on the map than there are, you can get away with certain things, and that's what Boom did.
And you want to make sure you don't take chances, because if you think, oh, they went back, that's also a way of doing it. If you make people think, oh, we went back, we're not here, and then we bait them in, I mean, that is just as effective and in most cases actually more lethal.
As we see Dave W get hooked in, Paolo is in the mix, Kaio is in the mix as well. Dave W is going to be on the run, trying to survive the aerial battle, will get picked up by Blah. Dave W goes down to the wrath of Boom as they go back to the clearing game. The top turret for Spade and his team is at half health. At this stage in the game, a member of Team Boom should start clearing up the bottom lane. Or just go completely for the turret and take it out as they have overpowered Spade and Ubi. There's nothing they were able to do against that. And we see Spade is going to be on the run from Paolo and Blah. He'll be able to escape by using the jumper. Kaio just missing his anchor.
And we're looking at a range pickup for Vinny, so going for those deep range, broad team fights, and you can do some pretty cheeky dives with that, going through walls, etc., in different places.
As the entirety of Spade and his team will go back to clearing, we see Boom reestablishing their control of mid. Paolo looks like he's going to go back and grab an upgrade or two, as he does have almost 200 solar.
Oh, well, 200 solar is not much, depending on who it is for and who plans on using it.
As we see the engage start, Dave W taking a lot of damage, Kaio taking a lot of damage, Ubi's going to get hit with a blaze, Paolo trying to deal some damage, does land it, and Ubi will be on the run as Spade and Dave W are back to try and save him. He will pick up that HP and secure some safety, but he's getting assaulted, absolutely destroyed by Paolo and Blah as they hunted him down. Dave W getting the dive in, going to be dealing a lot of damage to Paolo, and Spade is trying to survive by avoiding any no clips that can potentially hit him, that being Penny Pulse as well as the Coco Ball.
And he was actually also trying to avoid that blaze there, which is why he did the funny little NATO around up on top. Because it is important to know that just because you use your abilities doesn't mean you have to go in with it. If you think you die, you can abort at any time. Just don't go in too deep.
And this is where the second phase of Sirona starts. Now that you've taken those first two turrets, you have to focus on that last turret. It is a single lane, so there will be a lot of team fights in front of the turret, and a lot of turret camping for both teams.
Well, now with the added shoot hop on top, there will be a lot more ganking going on, and
well, we can see a huge amount of damage being dealt across the board, as Spade will have to avoid a lot of it. Blah pouncing Ubi away, and Paolo is going to be on the run as Kaio comes in for the kill. He will be able to pick up Spade, but Dave W landing the dive on Paolo, making a 1-for-1. Blah is going to have to defend, or excuse me, Ubi and Dave W will have to defend against Kaio and Paolo, as they are going to do some turret damage.
Permanent damage, best damage, and this could be, if Spade and his incredible team plays this out right, they could get a lot of farm for this, because the 2 waves of droids are now centered almost, and playing this right will get them a lot of solar if they defend it right, make sure they get all the droids and leave nothing for the turret, as well as Dave W being able to farm with that that cloud there, and that might just be enough to fuel their comeback, but we'll have to see what happens.
And Vinny is one of those characters that can effectively shut down a push just by using his Cloud. And as you said before, he has that solar gain on Cloud for everything in it. So he will be picking up 1 solar apiece for everything in it for 3 seconds.
Oh, that's interesting. Coco opting for Blaze Slow with that added, that would be the time travel to turbine, so increased duration on map as well as slow. That is, to me, a counter build towards Frog. They don't want Frog to move anywhere, and to an extent Ayla as well, but I think Frog is the one being hit the hardest by this.
Well, all those characters are very quick and nimble, so I believe that he is going to be building for that counter, as you said before. If he picks up the double slow, the 300 solar upgrade that increases slow even more, it's going to be very difficult for Spade and his team to combat that, considering the type of characters they're playing. Spade is going to be hit with an anchor by Kaio and pounced down mid-air. He's going to have to try and escape, but he's going to get picked up by Kaio, and we see Ubi get picked up by Blah. Dave W forced to defend again in a 3v1. Boom has cleared the lanes, and they are proceeding to go for more turret damage as Paolo and Kaio will be clearing, and Blah coming in from the top, and they start their assault on the turrets.
I couldn't see a more well-suited candidate for defending. Vinny with that piercing AA as well as the range on dive. He can do a lot. You can see that's a 3 full-man push, and he's keeping it away excellently. Very, very good Vinny play.
And they only shaved off maybe 2 to 3 bars in that huge push.
Had that been Frog, Frog had been able to do absolutely nothing against such a heavy push.
And the Swiggins, the second that he goes in for NATO, he's going to get anchored out, and his NATO is going to get interrupted and canceled.
That is true.
As we go back to the clearing game, and we're going to see some ball damage come out on Coco. The second stage of AA on Swiggins, which is very interesting to see, and Rocketeer Cloud for Vinny, increasing the duration and size of that cloud. He'll be able to prevent these pushes even more, as well as utilize his silence in a bigger area.
And, well, we've seen this build as the meta silence cloud with solar heals included.
And Ubi is going to get picked up by the ball from Paolo. Dave W is going to have to run away. Spade getting slowed by the blaze trail of Paolo, and Paolo will pick up another kill as we see them proceed to the turret once more for their push. Dave W just used his cloud, so he's got a few seconds before he'll be able to use that again, but that turret is taking a pounding, and they will not, and Dave W has to hold out just a few seconds longer until Ubi can get down, and he will be able to survive the turret assault. It has about 4 bars left. He's going to continue defending as Paolo and Blah continue their assault. Kaio waiting for someone to use the bouncer, and Ubi will use it, but he will use it in a strategic fashion going into the bottom lane to clear up those droids.
And we have to remember, this is the team we saw go a kill a minute. This is just so people have a sense of skill. This is not because Spade and his incredible team are not good players. This is because we are, you know, this is the winners finals. This is very good teams playing.
These are very good teams playing. We've seen them play for 3 months straight, 12 weeks, and as we've said before, this is the day of the grand finals. Both of these teams are competing for a spot for that first and second place at this point. Most of them opting for the first. Dave W dropping his silence cloud, and he's going to be forced to retreat back as we see Blah, Kaio, and Paolo dealing damage across the board. Spade is going to be running away. Ubi is going to be running away. Kaio will pick up Spade with the anchor. Ubi may be getting picked up due to DOT. Will survive with a half a bar. Dave W getting away with half health. And we see Team Boom go to the turret once more. 3 or 2.5 bars left, I should say, and Dave W is going to be anchored down. As the turret goes down, we see Ubi proceed to attack Blah, but a lot of damage being dealt across the board, and they're going straight for the core. The Codfather being bought on Dave W, but I don't know if he'll be able to combat this. Ubi trying to defend with Dave W. Dave W going to pick up the kill on Kyle, but look at that core! That core is done!
The droids were just going at it.
The droids, Paolo and Blah, were assaulting that core and took it down very quickly, as Kaio seemed to be a great distraction for Dave W and Ubi. But congratulations to Team Boom taking game 1. Nata, what could have went differently?
I think we're down to play style here. I think what Spade and his incredible team could have done would be more of a synchronized attack, go in, get that double dash going, because I'm guessing that was the original plan, but Boom, they do this really, really great way. They separate up. They are, if you imagine like a triangle, and if you go in between in the middle, you get Illuminati'd all the way to non-existence. This is like, they position themselves in a way that makes it really hard to get those double dashes off, but if you have your focus on it, it can be done, because what they're doing is avoiding team fights and basically going in 1-for-1 each time. And if you can force the team fights, I think that's where Spade and his incredible team really would have excelled.
I agree 100% with you. The only thing that I would like to add is the draft session. Very good picks and bans by Team Boom, and I don't think Spade and his incredible team were able to kind of combat that in the gameplay. But that being said, we are going to take a short break, and we will be back with Game 2 while we are, quote-unquote, in the process of getting the replay ready. Stay tuned.